Kevin, are you ready yet?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. On my conference this morning, I mentioned that our post-game thoughts were the same as we discussed in Columbia. Our backs played really well. Our defense gave up some yards but forced turnovers. Offensive line played good. Quarterback really threw the ball well. Special teams was okay. We still need to improve in our punt return, but overall our coverage units were good, with the exception of one play where we didn't have a good punt. We had a line drive punt that put us in a difficult situation. On an injury update, there's really not anything to talk about other than Hubert's the only guy that we don't expect to be with us on Saturday. The other players are improving, even the ones that didn't play in the game, and they'll reevaluate Justin tomorrow morning. It was unfortunate that we lost Hubert. I mentioned after the game, he's really come a long ways as not only a football player but a person, and hate to see a young man in his senior season not be able to finish. And it's a tough loss for us. He plays extremely hard. He blocks really well. He's caught the football, made big plays for us in man coverage. So I was disappointed that we lost Hubert, not for the team, but for himself and for what he's brought to the table. We have a great challenge this week, like every week. Baylor's very, very good on offense, and quarterback deserves all the recognition that he's getting across the country. They got a couple wideouts, and one in particular that's making a number of plays that everybody knows about it. I'm not telling anything you don't know. So, our focus will be good practices for the next 3 days and try to maintain a high level of energy and perform at a high level on Saturday. I think that's what most coaches, I know with our coaching staff, that's a discussion that takes place more so than X's and O's. So we'll proceed and move forward from this point.
Coach, what's the biggest challenge with Robert Griffin III, defending him as a passer or as a runner?
A passer. He has not run the ball very much. He can, but if you look at his career, he's gotten away from that because he's become such a good thrower.
How much better is his passing game now, Mike, from what it's been the last couple of years?
The numbers speak for themselves. When you can perform in as many games as he has, it speaks for itself. His quarterback rating and his completion percentage, and he went up through 5 weeks where he had more touchdown passes than incompletions. I think that number's correct. So his numbers speak for themselves. Is he a junior or a senior?
Junior.
Good thing Cam Newton's doing good.
Mike, you know this. Mike, you know this from your playing days, right here. You had Hart Lee as a go-to guy. Brandon has Justin as a go-to guy. Kendall Wright, you mentioned earlier, has kind of developed into that now. How
Sure
much
is.
difference does that make for a quarterback when he's got that one guy that kind of rises above everybody?
Well, I can speak for myself. You always feel comfortable when you have a player there you know that you can go to in a crucial situation. And then in a normal down and distance situation, you have a player that you feel like that can make a big play. And I don't think there's any question that he relies on Kendall. And, we looked at Kendall and evaluated him coming out. And we go back and look at our recruiting notes, and we were afraid that he was going to be as good as what we thought. We just didn't have room at that particular time. Wish we would have. Not that we'd have got him, but it turned out to be a very good player.
No disrespect to any of the other teams you've played, but is the Griffin-Wright combo one of the best wide receiver quarterback combos you've played this season?
Yes.
Mike, you guys probably handled Griffin as well as anybody last year. What was it that made you guys so effective?
Not sure. Our guys played hard, ran to the football, and they're going to make some plays. You don't take a team that's had that much success on offense, a quarterback that's had that much success, and skill players that have had that much success, and all of a sudden them not make plays. So I think you got to play hard, you got to run to the ball, and you had to make more plays than they do.
Mike, with all the added attention OSU is getting these days, obviously you're number 3 now, you're getting the attention locally, nationally as well. How do you keep the kids' heads on straight, kind of keep the pressure off of them on a daily basis, especially kind of going into a game like this against Baylor where you don't want to overlook them, kind of like what happened in Norman this weekend.
Well, we're not going to play under pressure. We're not going to coach under pressure. We want the players to enjoy the experience they're going through. There's way too much pressure in college football now, and so I want them to put that to the side. I want them to not have any regrets on what they do Sunday through Thursday, and then not have any regrets on their attitude and the effort that they give the team on Saturday. And they understand that. And so hopefully that's been instilled in them for enough weeks now that they'll go out and practice and have fun and go play on Saturdays.
So you won't make a special mention or anything to that this week? It was just kind of what you built up through the weeks up to this point?
Yeah, and I'm not a big Newt Rockney guy, or I don't give those speeches. That's just not my style, and so I don't know what I could say that they would really care. But myself and our staff will make sure that we have good practices during the week to put themselves in position to play well on Saturday.
You've kind of mastered the hard part by figuring out how to win on the road. Most of the losses you've had the last 3 years have been out here. Is there any concern ever that you have a tiny bit of letdown or you relax just a tiny bit when you're here and it makes you more vulnerable?
It shouldn't. I don't have an answer for that question either, but they should go out and play every Saturday, home or away, because you only get 13 opportunities, and they train 365 days a year for it. So I believe they feel that way, and they'll go compete. I still fall back on, for a couple years or 3 or 4 years now, that as I watched college football develop, I felt like parity would move its way across the country with the skilled athletes and the style of offenses and quarterbacks that can run and throw. And so you're going to see more teams lose than you would in the past. That's going to be the future. 3 years from now, we'll be talking about that. They'll be saying, why are there so many 7-5 and 8-4s? It's because everybody's better compared to the 10-2s and 11-1s. There won't be as many of them in the future. And so you would like to think that you can keep them playing on a high level to try to avoid a letdown.
So since you bowled in the stadium, how would you rate your home field advantage
Excellent.
compared to most that you encounter?
Excellent. If you just talk to the coaches from the other teams that we play against, or a better comparison would be to talk to a coach that used to coach on another school that played against us here before we enclose that end zone. They can give you a much better perspective on the difference in playing here now compared to what would be 5 or 6 years ago.
Does it speak to Brandon's maturity? I didn't think he ever got flustered when he those 6 or 7 straight drops. I mean, or is it his character? Because you see NFL quarterbacks slap their helmet. He just seemed to roll with it.
And the point you bring up has already been discussed with our team over the last couple of weeks, where you see NFL quarterbacks doing that. I've never been in an NFL game, so I can't really comment on how those players feel toward each other. But when I'm watching the game, in our open week, I watch some NFL teams. And then if I watch other college teams, I know that it's counterproductive. It doesn't do any good. And we're fortunate that Brandon's 28 years old and understands the importance of, if there was a mistake made in protection, or if there was a drop pass or something on defense for that matter that he or any other player wasn't happy with, a strong show of support is going to benefit the team much more than anger or disgust or being disgusted. And so we talk a lot about body language around here. And if you make a mistake, everybody knows you made a mistake. You don't have to bang your helmet, or you don't have to draw attention to yourself to let somebody know you're mad that you made a mistake or another teammate made a mistake. Everybody knows it. Just like if you make a good play, you don't have to draw attention to yourself because everybody knows you made a good play. And so that's the approach that I would like our team to have.
But one of the most famous plays ever at the school was a drop pass. And you threw it. You threw that ball. It dropped in the end zone. I mean, you can relate certainly to how Brandon feels when he puts it right on the money. And it falls to the target. And you're not concerned, though, in Casey Dunn and Meacham the other day and Monk, and they all insist that they're not concerned. And it's a
with,
all the drops.
no, I'm not concerned at all. Do I like it? No, but I'm honestly not concerned with that one bit.
So when Brent Parker dropped that down here, what was your reaction as a junior quarterback at the time? Did you want to tear his head off, or did you go?
I just kind of went off the field, and I didn't really know whether somebody started a rumor that it got tipped. And so I thought maybe the ball got tipped. And I didn't know till later on when I saw it on the news. But no, I actually went and talked to him that night in the dorm, and Brent's was a good player for us, worked hard, made a lot of plays, just dropped the ball.
Over the past few weeks, you've talked a lot about the depth of this team. Talk about your comfort level and confidence in the younger receivers that are going to have to step up now with Hubert out.
Well, there's more reps now for Michael Harrison. Isaiah's not a younger player, but he's been in our program, but more reps for him. Josh Stewart's got to play more. So they're guys that have been around our program and understand, and now they have to step up and make more plays. And we've been fortunate here for the last few years that whenever we turn it over to them and say, you're the guy, that they've stepped up and played pretty well. And as I stay in this business and this profession longer, I realize that when you hand the reins over to another player, they'll play better than you think they will, because now they have to make plays. Brandon Whedon in the second half of Colorado, first time he ever got out of the box, played a lot better than everybody thought he would, including me, because he was the guy. He had to go out and make plays.
Well, what is your assessment of how those guys played on Saturday? Not only catching the ball, but blocking and everything else you're asking to do.
Yeah, they played fine. They did well. Isaiah made some catches and made a couple blocks for us. And Josh Stewart has continued to get a little bit more playing time each week. He's showing up on special teams. And the other guys have been playing all year.
Something that's been missed is the lack of penalties. You guys, I think, had less than 5 the last 2 games. What emphasis do you place on not having penalties in the game?
Well, I'm pleased with what our team's done from a penalty standpoint. I think we had 3 or 2 at Missouri. And they were all self-inflicted. We took a delay of games, right? So I've been pleased with our coaches and the way they're coaching our players, and then them understanding the importance of not giving away free yards.
Before the season, I think a lot of your fans looked at the front half and saw at A&M, at Texas, at Missouri. That's brutal. So you're beyond that now, and now you look at your schedule. K-State's in the top 10. Tech just did what they did. OU's down the line. Can you just talk about the second half of the schedule and how it shapes up for you? Really, I mean, if anything, it's as difficult as the front half.
Well, it's every bit as difficult as what we went through. And so, again, it validates the strength of our league that people are debating across the country. Still puzzles me, but every game will be a challenge for us. You've playing very good teams who have had success, not only in this league, but against opponents outside of our league. And they all have a certain aspect of their team that makes them good, whether it's not making mistakes and being sound on defense and quarterback playing smart, or a quarterback who's playing smart and electrifying, or the ability to throw for 400 yards at any given time if you're not careful. So they all have their strengths. And so, again, it makes for great Saturdays for the fans and not so much fun for the coaches.
Usually by this point in the season, you'll kind of identify a guy who might be out of the radar a little bit, but you'll start kind of mentioning him now and then as a guy that should be all Big 12 guy. Do you think Blatnick maybe might be that guy for you this year?
He's very worthy of strong consideration for all Big 12. Made a bunch of plays.
Is he consistently the best end play you've ever had as a head guy here from him?
Trying to reflect back on if we had any other still playing in the pros ends. I don't think we have, do we?
Smith.
Who?
Antonio Smith.
Yeah, Scooby was actually a little bit before me, but since then, Jamie would have been what would be the most consistent, yes.
Cowboys have scored 80 points off takeaways. That's impressive.
What's that?
The Cowboys have scored 80 points off takeaways. That's impressive.
If we're fortunate enough to continue to get turnovers, we'll have a chance to be in every game. We should have enough players on offense and enough maturity to take advantage of those, and then it becomes a percentage game. You have so many opportunities to score, and if you have X number of players that are good enough to do it, then chances are you're going to score more points than the other team is based on the opportunities you get, which lessens their opportunities. And so we've been fortunate in the second half. Our defense has been really good in that area.
With the success that you've had with the turnovers leading the country and everything like that, when the team is moving the ball on you, do you almost, from a mindset standpoint, expect the turnover to come? And do you think your defense has that same feeling?
Well, we've started to expect it. What we'd like to do is minimize them moving the ball some, and then if we do get the turnovers, it makes it even that much better. So there's a lot of talk about where we're at statistically in all three phases, justifiably so. But ultimately, those three phases have to come together, and you have to find a way to win the game somehow. And so that's where I'm pleased with the way our team is playing, because they're kind of working together and finding a way to win the game somehow. Whether the offense has had a few bad series in a row and the defense puts them back on the field, or defense forces turnovers and offense takes it and scores, or a kick return. So we've been fortunate that we've all kind of worked together and found a way to win.
How does defensive line play factor into turnovers?
Well, it's big, because if you look at the tape, two of them I know for sure. Well, three of them, because Wilson Yeoman stripped the ball out one time. The interception that Broderick Brown had, one of our defensive linemen, I can't remember which one, was right in the quarterback's face and made him throw the ball high, and it went 2 feet over the receiver and hit Broderick in the chest. And then Jamie tipped the other ball. I think Sean Lewis caught that one. So they're a factor in it, and those guys need to continue to distract and put relentless pressure on a quarterback for those reasons. It's not always the sack, it's the hurries and the distractions that can also benefit us from a turnover standpoint.
Speaking of that position, it looked like to me you got some good play out of David L. Collins.
He was better. David L. plays a little high at times, and he's learning. He's young, and he's really tall, and he needs to learn to keep his pads down. But he got put into a role where he had to play a considerable amount more of plays than what he has, because of Nigel not being healthy, and then obviously Cooper Bassett didn't play at all. So he made a few plays for us.
With where you guys are now in the human polls and the BCS standings, does there become pressure now not to just win, but to win by as much as you can, style points?
That's never been important for our team. If we win our games, we'll have opportunities. And so I just would like for our coaches and players to stay more focused on winning the game. And if we play well enough and get ahead and some of the other players get a chance to get on the field, I think that's awesome. But we just need to take care of tomorrow's practice and throughout the week, and in that game, no matter what it is, whether it's 1 point or 40 points, we need to find a way to win that game.
When your players are asked about the rankings, they say the only BCS poll they care about obviously is the first Sunday in December. But when you see OSU come in at number 3, the highest they've been ranked in BCS, you had a moment where you just thought about the rise of this program? I mean, when you see it ranked so high?
Yes. I mean, I'm like everybody else. When you drive in a car or lay in bed and you can't go to sleep, your mind spins, and so you think about things. And I'm very proud of our team. I'm very proud of where we're at right now. And, our goal is to try to win every Saturday and then try to do the right thing while we're doing it. And make decisions with our team and our recruiting and inside our organization that can continue to promote success in this program for a long time. That's really kind of my train of thought right now.
Coach, you mentioned earlier that the Big 12 is very strong this year. Do you feel it's the strongest it's been in a long time as a league as a whole, or maybe the strongest it's been since you've been the head coach?
I think it's the strongest it's been from top to bottom. Now, we went through a number of years, 3 years, where Texas and Oklahoma Oklahoma State and Texas Tech were all in the top 10, I think. 2 years or so they floated in the top 10, which was obviously very impressive. But when you look at what Bill mentioned earlier about the remaining games, you're not playing games where you feel like, okay, if we don't play good, we can win anyway. There's not any of those games. So from top to bottom, it's stronger than it ever has been.
How difficult was it to keep Justin on the sidelines in the second half?
It was extremely difficult to keep him, to make him aware that he couldn't play, to get him to the sideline, and then he settled down a little bit. But he's ultra competitive, and guys that really like to play football, and whether we'd like to admit it or not, some of those players that are really, really good, they're put together differently than normal people. They don't think the same way. You just look at the history of the game. There's very few of those really good players that are just normal like we are. So he's put together different than other people are. And it's frustrating for him when he can't get out and do what he loves to do, which is play the game. But finally we kind of got him settled down there a little bit, and he was okay.
Was that a circumstance where he was trying to convince you that he was okay to go back in, but you were having to listen to the medical staff?
Yes, but we didn't really give him the choice. We told him he's not going to play, and we didn't really give him that opportunity. There's not a discussion really from a medical standpoint. When we have a player that's in that situation, we're not going to put him on the field. And so there's really no discussion. And he finally kind of bought in as it went on.
Did he have a concussion, Mike, or was it something less serious?
It's not a concussion.
Situation?
Well, I mean, tomorrow they'll give us the final rundown, but in my opinion, he had something, but and not to shy away from the question, but I don't know what that means anymore. It's confusing. It's much different. You know, back when I played, they didn't know what it was. They just put you back out there, and you were okay, one way or the other, which I think's wrong, because nobody knew what they were back then. So precautionary measures are taken now for all the right reasons.
So apparently you can get your bell rung without it maybe qualifying as a full, because he definitely has a bell.
I'm going to say yes, but you guys know now, I've made a C in biology, so I mean, I don't have an answer for that. They come and give me the long, drawn-out reasons, and I just say yay or nay and go on down the road with it.
Mike, have you ever voted on the coaches poll? You have?
Mm-hmm.
When was
Couple
the last
years.
time, do you remember?
You know how that is with me. Years all run together. I was on that. I think I'm on it this year. I think maybe I'm not on it. I don't know. I was on it though for a while, a couple years, but I can't remember for sure. I must not be on it because isn't there another one that comes out pretty soon that you're supposed to vote on?
Oh, you're talking about two different things, aren't
Well, I don't know. Is it you talking about like?
a weekly.
Yeah, I'm not on that. I've been on that one,
Right.
but I'm not on it now. Yeah.
Does it bother you? Obviously, if a coach is in the middle of this thing, that's part of the equation. Do you wish you were on it, or does it?
I'm on something that's going to start here pretty soon that you have to vote on, and I actually do it. Like when I was on that USA Today one, I was the one that was doing it because I felt like I should have done it. Kevin was begging to do it, but I didn't want him to do it. I actually did the voting, but there's one coming up, and I don't know what it is, and it starts in the latter part of the season, and I have to vote on that, and because I got an email on it the other day. So it got thrown in. It didn't come much. So it got thrown in the junk mail deal. I had to go back and find it.
you? Did you ever see moving Wilson over to defense full-time, or do you need him on offense?
He's over there full time now. He's a full-time defensive guy and a spot guy on offense.
So he's
He had 37 plays.
Yeah.
Should have done it earlier. Poor coaching move on my part. Should have put him over there earlier because he factors in the game more, and he's very energetic, and he likes to play, and so he needs to be on the field.
Who's he alternating with, both sides, or
Excuse me?
who's he alternating with over there?
He's working at end with, you got Rachetti and Jamie, Ryan.
He can play both sides.
Yes.
Rashad, Ricchetti got the interception the other day, and I think Jamie said afterward he was shocked because Ricchetti has skillet hands.
Bad hands.
Is that a fair assessment?
He has bad hands. Yeah. He does have bad hands. We do the fumble and the interception drill, the turnover circuit all through spring and preseason camp, and it's not good. That's not good at all. Good? All right, thank you.